Welcome back to Reddit Storytime. Today we have 4 incredible stories. Let's dive right in. Story number 1. Toxic boss begged for a company review. So this happened to a guy who finally escaped a toxic workplace, and the revenge was absolutely delicious. He had been working at a small planning and design firm in Germany for 4 miserable years. The pay was a joke. The leadership was completely unpredictable. They expected him to do the job of a fully qualified project manager without the pay or the support. The turnover was insane. 3 colleagues quit around the same time, and his boss burned through 5 different assistants in 4 years. Eventually, he packed his bags and moved to a different city for a fresh start. Now here is where it gets good. Just 1 week after his last day, his former boss casually texted him asking to please leave a 5-star review for the firm on a local job review site. This boss genuinely thought they had parted on great terms. He just rolled his eyes and ghosted him. But then, a few days later, he checked the company page and found 3 brand new glowing reviews posted in the same week. They were so obviously fake. All using the exact same corporate buzzwords. Great work-life balance. Amazing health benefits, which was literally just 15 minutes of stretching on Wednesdays. So he remembered that text. His boss wanted a review? Fine. Let us comply. He sat down and wrote a brutally honest, mathematically precise review. Completely professional, but 1 and 2 stars in almost every category. Then he reported the 3 fake reviews to the platform. Within 4 hours, 2 of them were deleted. The platform probably caught them because his boss was dumb enough to write them from the same office computer. His boss then texted him again, desperately begging for a good review, having absolutely no idea that the same person he was texting had just tanked his rating. He left him on read. And the cherry on top? A friend still working there said management had suddenly started being nice to everyone, terrified that more people would quit. Story number 2. Cowbell birthday diva got destroyed. Everyone has encountered someone like this. There was this girl in middle school who walked around like she owned the entire place, acting like she was better than absolutely everybody else. But one particular girl took that attitude as far as humanly possible. One Monday morning, our storyteller walks into class, and this girl is wearing a sash and a massive tiara. Naturally, the assumption was that it was her birthday. 1 day of attention, right? Wrong. When class started and the teacher began talking, this girl literally stood up and started aggressively ringing a cowbell. She announced to the entire class that it was not her birthday. It was her birth week. An entire week of celebration. And the wildest part? She never got in trouble for any of it, because her mother was apparently the type to go absolutely nuclear on any teacher who dared discipline her precious angel. So teachers just gave up. For that entire week, she walked the halls shaking that cowbell in people's faces and bossing everyone around like royalty. Then Thursday came. The class went to the library. Our storyteller was in the corner, quietly looking at graphic novels, when Her Royal Highness appeared. She looked up at the very top shelf, and then she rang that cowbell right in our storyteller's face. So close that it actually hit their nose. Then she pointed at a book she wanted and demanded it be handed over immediately. So our storyteller obliged. Reached up, grabbed the book, started to hand it over, and then at the last second turned around and threw it about 5 feet across the library. Turned back, looked her dead in the eye, and said calmly, "Go pick it up." She stood there dumbfounded. She never directly bothered them for the rest of the year. And our storyteller said it was the coolest they had ever felt. Story number 3. Brother's girlfriend sent a 9-page postpartum document. So this is a family drama that spiraled completely out of control over a single comment. A woman and her brother had always been close. Her brother had never been in a relationship until, at 33, he met his current girlfriend. Within 2 months, she was pregnant. Everyone was excited. But very quickly, the girlfriend became extremely opinionated. The family learned to walk on eggshells because she constantly talked about cutting people out of her life if she disagreed with them. Then, about 2 weeks before the baby was born, she sent the entire family a 9-page document outlining exactly how her postpartum period would go. 9 pages. It was mostly about her needs, with barely a mention of the baby or the brother. No visitors, no unsolicited advice, no questions about delivery or feeding. The poster had 5 kids of her own and thought it was a lot, but she kept her mouth shut. The baby was born, everyone was happy. Weeks passed with no issues. The family gave them space. Then, about 6 weeks after the birth, the girlfriend posted online a provocative statement that read, "A father does not love his kids if," followed by a list of reasons. This was the poster's breaking point. She responded saying she agreed, but suggested changing the word father to parents, because relationships are two-sided. Total meltdown. The girlfriend had a complete explosion online, calling her disgusting for putting family business online. The poster apologized by text. Not accepted. She called her brother and apologized again. He asked her to call the girlfriend and apologize a 3rd time. She did. Then she received a text saying she had ruined the girlfriend's entire postpartum experience. So the question is, was she wrong for commenting on a public post? Was one comment really enough to ruin an entire postpartum period? What do you think? Story number 4. Demand a doctor's note? Here's your week off. This one is a classic case of a manager creating their own worst nightmare. A guy working in the service industry got sick. Really sick. He could barely breathe or stay awake. The service industry, as many of you know, is absolutely notorious for guilting sick employees. There is a 100% chance that a seriously ill person has made your food at a restaurant because their manager told them to come in anyway. So this guy called in asking for just 1 day off. Instead of any sympathy, his manager hit him with the classic line. "Well, you need a doctor's note, or it is an unexcused absence." Now, this was deeply offensive to him. He worked incredibly hard for these people, even when he was sick. Being called a liar when he genuinely needed rest was insulting. But here is the thing his manager did not know. He had excellent health insurance through his dad. So he went to the doctor, got examined, and walked out with a note. Not for 1 day. For 4 days off. He walked back into work, handed the note to his manager, and calmly said, "Here is my doctor's note, and this is the date I will be back." Now you might think the manager learned their lesson. You would be wrong. A few months later, the same thing happened. He called in sick, and again got the demand for a doctor's note. So he went back to the doctor, got an even longer note, and this time he specifically asked the doctor to include a note about when he would stop being infectious around the food they were serving to customers. That last detail was a chef's kiss of malicious compliance, making the manager confront the fact that their sick employee was handling food. And from that day forward, he was never asked for a doctor's note again. They learned that they could give him the 1 or 2 days he asked for, or they could deal with the full week the doctor would give him. That's all for today. If you enjoyed these stories, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more. See you next time.